This episode of Inside Running is proudly sponsored by Sydney Marathon. Join them this September in their bid to become an Abbott World Marathon Major. Learn more at sydneymarathon.com.
Child, that your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Undercover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking.
Welcome to episode number 280 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Big show coming at you this week. Sydney Track Classic happened. We had an Australian record there to talk about. Nagoya Marathon happened. A bit of state stuff, I suppose. The Box Hill Classic and the Queensland State Championships. Big listener question coming up thanks to the Sydney Marathon. And Moose on the Loose. We'll hit all the main segments as we usually do on this podcast. Welcome to my co-host, Bradley Croker. Still a bit under the weather up in Canberra. How are you?
I've been better, Brady. I've had a pretty shit week, and it was a long weekend here, but been just crook most of it. Nothing serious, but just not feeling very good. So that's me.
Always tell when you're not feeling good by the pace of your runs. When you start seeing those 425s, 430s pop up, you know something's not going well.
Being sensible.
My other co-host is back on Australian soil. I think he just got back into the country yesterday. Julian Spence, welcome back to Australia. Welcome to this week's episode of the Inside Running Podcast.
Thanks, mate. Good to be back. Straight into some croaks complaining. How about that?
Yeah, learnt from the best, Moose. I've had a masterclass the last 2 weeks.
As soon as I heard not a good week, I'm like, you get fucked. You got no idea what a bad week is.
All right, mate. Go on. Tell us a 30-minute sob story. Off you go.
You're back, Moose. You're in Anglesea, but you've been a bit here and everywhere.
Hotels, all the incidents and all the rough holiday from hell has been forgotten about. Because I got into bed last night at 1 a.m. or something, and said to Brown, oh, it wasn't that bad, was it? It was fucking bad though. Anyway, I'm back in Anglesea. Routine training camp day one.
Yeah, so you were meant to be back Friday, but then cancelled flight, and then stopover missed, and then you finally got home.
Yeah, so we check the flight was originally for. I think it was 9 p.m. So we were check out of our hotel and all that, leave the luggage, have a day in the city, and then go to get our bags and get the bags, get on the train out to the airport. Or we were walking into the lift, and we get a text saying your flight's cancelled. Tomorrow's the rescheduled flight, and this was after it had already been cancelled from a midday flight to a 9 p.m. flight. So we changed all this. Then so we get off the train, and it's 7 p.m. at night on a Saturday night, and we go scraping trying to find a bed. The only one we could kind of find was was a hotel that some of the stuff wasn't working in the room because they were booked out, and it was the tiniest little Japanese room ever. So we went in there for the evening, and it was all right. By this stage, we were like, fuck it, we can do anything. It's fine. It can't get much worse. But yeah, we got on that flight. It was delayed again. But we got back to Cairns, get into Cairns at 11:30 at night, and I'm thinking, this will be all right because no other planes would be here at this time of night. However, there were other planes, and they were on a skeleton crew, and they quarantined and customs and bag collection and taxis at Cairns Airport at midnight is not the best setup in the world. And it took, in the end, we got to bed about 3 or 3:30 in the morning. So I had to try to deal with an 18-month-year-old on this kind of fucked up sleep schedule with it. Oh, and then while we were on the plane back, they said, the aircon's not working, so we're going to have to fly a different route home. So we have to stay close to airports in case we have to land. And so it went from being a 7-hour flight to a 9-hour flight, which is like 7 hours is a stretch for traveling with a baby like that. 9 hours is, okay, let's strap in. This is going to be the hardest 9 hours of your life. But she was a trooper. She got there.
Weren't you in first class anyway?
No, I was in business. Bree was in the back.
Oh, yeah.
I went back and saw him a few times. And Jetstar, fuck, they are a nightmare, right? They don't give a shit. So as we were coming into land, I suddenly got all this water started gushing on me from above. Something was leaking in the plane, and I don't know whether it was the aircon that was broken or whatever, but I just started getting covered in water. And this was as we're coming into land, so they trying to put me in a different seat, but I'm saturated. They pretend like it didn't happen. They're like, oh, here's some serviettes, you'll be fine. Like, fuck, I didn't pay for the business class seat, Mizuno did. But if I'd paid business and got saturated and just got handed napkins and said, look after yourself, I would be pissed. Anyway, we got to Cairns, got booked on another flight later that day at 3:00. Then we ended up getting back to Melbourne Airport, all smooth there, got back to my car, which was being parked there in Terminal 4 car park, flat tyre. Call RACV, oh yeah, you don't have roadside assist, the direct debit stopped coming out 6 months ago. I'm like, you didn't tell me about that? Oh, I'm sure we did. I'm like, okay, whatever. How can I fix this? So I ended up getting the roadside. We got roadside assist in the end, and I'm thinking at the time, I could probably have a crack at doing this, but all the tools are in behind the car seat, and I didn't want to get the car seat out. So the bloke gets there. RACV have a tracking app, so they send like a map, satellite map, and it shows you where they're at. So it took I think it was about 45 minutes. Gets to the airport, drives into the wrong car park, and we can just see his fucking GPS signal or like the little icon in the wrong car park. But there's no way of contacting him because they don't give their phone number. So we're just sitting there waiting for him to call us. Eventually he does. And he's like, oh, wrong car park. Yep, get in the other car park. So that was another like 25, 30 minutes of fucking around. In the end, it took him age. Like he struggled to change the tyre because we got this weird system. So I'm lucky I didn't have a crack because I would have had no chance. Got in at 1 a.m. last night. Happy days. Happy days. I'm a changed man.
Yeah, that's a shit story. I gave you a bit of grief last week on Strava and that, Moose, but I would be I'd be a nightmare if I was traveling with Viv like that. So
you got 117 likes, Croaks. You've destroyed him again in the comments.
Moose has replied 12 likes. That is the best thing that's ever going to happen to Croaks. Like, that's now the highlight of his life.
He's got a few now, though.
No, I had more on the other one, Moose, so that was the highlight. This comes in about third.
Everyone loves the bit of banter. I stay off it for you. Like, I could destroy you every day, but I don't. Anyway, well played. Couldn't really say much because what am I going to do? Complain more?
Yeah.
But no, it was. I feel like without Pia there, I would have been so much worse. But because she's there, it's not like you can lose the plot. You kind of got to hold it together because, like, if you lose the plot, she'll get all upset and scared. So, learning from this.
To be fair, though, Bree has more reason to complain than you. Like, yes. She's the one that had to spend 9 hours in cattle class while you're up the front getting a nice little shower.
Yeah, I know. I didn't send her a pic of the champagne they delivered me when I sat down. Bree was a champion. Pia was a champion. It's been like the first 2 weeks that I've spent probably every day with Pia because I go to work a lot, all the time. And so to have 2 weeks like full time, it was good, but it was also a bit of an eye opener. It'd be like, there is no off switch here. This is just like all day you've got to be alert, and you've got to be up and about. Basically, you can't just sit there. You kind of have to engage. So it's pretty tiring stuff.
Yeah, it's harder than going to work.
It is harder than going to work. I'll pay that.
Do it with 2. That's hard. I don't do that. Carly does 2 days with 2 of our kids. I only have 1 day with 1 kid.
Oh yeah, that's not too bad. That's actually a bit of a chop out, I reckon.
Yeah, 1's easy when you've gone from having 2.
But you fucking school teacher. You got 30 of them in a classroom.
26. But toddlers are hard though. When they're independent and can like walk and eat, and yeah, they don't wear nappies and stuff. It's completely different.
So that's harder than when they wear nappies.
Going to school with 26, 9 and 10-year-olds is easier than staying home with a 1 and 3-year-old, in my opinion. Yeah. She's definitely harder at 18 months than she was at 6 months, that's for sure. Yeah. It all depends on your situation and what you like doing, though, I suppose. It's all, families are different for everyone. You did do some running, though. I did a bit. I think I got like 45k or something, maybe. Or maybe more than that. I thought you were at 80. 80? Yeah. 81k, maybe it was 45. Yeah, I haven't been looking, but I did a Monday run. So I left the hotel. This is the one I got lost on that I was back a bit late for. So did this run, I thought I was running south, but I was running west. Found a little half park, which was still concrete, but they were playing baseball in there, so I just ran around it for a little bit. And then lucky I had my phone, because I would have had no idea how to get back to where I needed to go. It was just 40 minutes. I did a little workout the next day. So this park called Nagoya Park, I'd seen on the Strava hotspots, this was like one of probably the most popular place outside Osaka Castle to run. So I ran down there. Oh, this was the one I was late for, I think, actually. I ran down there, and then I did a little workout. So the idea was I didn't want to do a proper workout. I just wanted to see where the legs were at. So I did 15-minute progressive. The loop, it's like a road loop that's closed to traffic. So I think Central Park or the Tiergarten type area, kind of in Berlin. Or if you've been, or your Yoyogi Park in Tokyo. Have you guys run there? No, I've just run around the Imperial Palace there. Oh yeah. There's 2 tracks in the middle of this thing though. I'm just looking at the photo. So there's like a full massive athletic stadium with pool grandstands and everything, and massive like big screen, and then there's some soccer stadium that must be where a professional team play, because it's pretty big. So that's like a full-on like Cardinia Park style. But the running loop it's about 2.9 something maybe inside. It's actually a pretty nice road to run on if you're doing workouts. There's not many people on it, and it's really good surface, and it's marked so there's a start point. And they obviously have a marathon in there because they mark every kilometre. So you're running around, you're seeing all these random numbers on the ground, but they do link up to if you run a marathon in there. But no one seems to start from the line, so you kind of don't know. But yeah, the workout ran 3:35s, 3:24s, and 3:04s. So I didn't have any heart rate, or I didn't even have pace on actually. I was just running to feel, and so I found out afterwards what it was, and that sort of made sense. And maybe I would have thought the second 5 minutes was a bit faster, but it was towards the end. It was kind of hard. I actually listened to music during this workout, and I've never really done that before, and it inhibits a little bit of perception of how you're going. I think, like, you can't really hear your own breathing. And I reckon if you're doing hard workouts, like hard hill reps or track repeats that are
at 1500 or 3K pace, you would actually benefit from having music on. I'm not sure it was great for a threshold style workout because I reckon I was working a bit hard by the end. Do you guys ever listen to music while you do a workout?
No, I get too distracted, zone off. Don't concentrate enough on what pace I'm going.
I don't. I listen to music on easy runs. I did once do, when I wasn't going real well, a Spotify fartlek. So one song on, one song off.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just to mix it up, just to get myself out the door. But I hated it because, sessions get hard as it is, and then you have a shit song on or something like that, and you just get grumpy and distracted, and so I don't run to music for sessions, that's for sure.
I think you would get distracted by it. If it was a key workout, you would, but if it's just something to get through, then it was actually quite enjoyable.
Did you take shoes, Moose, to change into?
No, I just jogged down there in them. So I jogged down in the Rebellions, and then I did the workout and jogged back. So that, I wasn't a big fan of that, jogging through the city with the super shoes on. Because I thought I would finish this marathon and take a bit of a break. I wasn't expecting to run so much, so I was getting a bit of getting around in the race kit for this workout. So that felt pretty good actually. Just roll around. There was no real good runners here though. I think they almost go in on the track. But whatever.
So the calves aren't that was the calf issues in the marathon is all gone. It's all good.
Yeah.
Jumping straight back into training.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That was a bit of a tester.
It was a tester for sure. And it felt fine. So I felt like I was moving pretty well actually. I didn't feel like I was beat. My quads were okay. And so I was happy with that. And it's been a while. It's about 9 days or something. And I haven't been running that much, because it's just hard to get motivated when you're running loops or through cities. Because the next day I got out and I did a bit of dirt. I found this little dirt path on the outside. So that was 10K or so. Had to go to a bathroom, squat toilet. Fellas, this is new, real unpleasant as well. If you can imagine what a squat toilet is, it's exactly how it sounds. You got to squat real low, get your ass as close to the toilet as you can. The toilet is not
good strength session.
Yeah. Oh, I am the least flexible. It's basically I got to stand there and just shit. There's not much squatting going on. It was awful stuff, and I don't know how people do it. I guess it's just how you brought up. But that was awful. One of the worst experiences of my life. But got 10K in. Next day did a workout. So this was a good one actually. 3x8. I had in my head I'm doing 3x8 minutes. Did it to effort. So again, I need to get my heart rate going again, but the heart rate monitor, I left it at home. So I thought I'll run to effort. So I was doing 3x8 minutes with 90 seconds standing or shuffling type in between. So the first one was smack on 320s. Second one was 314s. And then on the third one was 312s. And after that, I thought, okay, the workout will end on my watch because I had it pre-programmed, and I'll do 15-second efforts to get back to where my stuff was. But then I looked down and my watch auto-lapped at 90 second rest, and it said lap 4, run for 8 minutes. I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't really want to do this, but I decided to do it anyway. I thought, it's actually quite good mental training to be forced to do something that you weren't mentally prepared for, to get thrown a bit of adversity in the workout. Because I reckon a month ago, if I got thrown that, I'd just go, nah, fuck that, I don't want to do that, and I would just stop. But I reckon I need to be challenged more in training, not just from a pace perspective, but I need to do more solo stuff, and I need to get back to what I was doing 3 or 4 years ago And one of the things was solo training, and another thing was having adversity. So in Ballarat, often you were doing workouts with like the worst weather ever, and that was proper adversity. Or you were doing them over hills or whatever. I like being on the track all the time. It feels like it's just quite set up to run fast. Whereas this, I know it's not hard. It's 8 more minutes of running, but 8 more minute rep at the end of the session for me felt like, a challenge to get through. So I was happy that I did it. And it was the fastest rep I did, 3:10s. So that was a good workout for me. I felt happy about that because it didn't feel like I was pushing it too much. Next day, just ran 11.5K on dirt. And then we got, 7K around the city before we left. And then in Cairns, I woke up. Fuck, it's hot in Cairns, boys. Jesus. I don't know what this says on Strava, but it was like you get off the 80% humidity, 28 degrees. It feels like you're in a sauna. You just get out and it is steaming. And because we got in at 3 o'clock or went to sleep about 3 o'clock, we woke up a bit later, and so I'm out there at 10 a.m. Just a bad idea. Well, not a bad idea, but just not that pleasant again. So 30 minutes along the Esplanade, and then the Nagoya marathon was on, and I didn't want to miss it, so I was watching it on my phone as I ran. And then I got into and did a treadmill run back at the gym. So I tried to get half an hour, but the treadmill was a piece of shit. It kept cutting out on me. So I would get like 5 minutes and then it would cut out totally. It would like short the PowerPoint. And so I'd have to get off, turn the treadie on and off, and wait for it to reboot. So I only tolerated 22 minutes of that. So that's it. That was my week.
Good week. You're still fit. I thought that marathon may have caused you a few issues and maybe a month to kind of get back rolling again, but the workouts were good.
Goes to show, though, different fit. Like, those sessions indicate, you probably run pretty well over 5 and 10K, but we know that you can't run marathons off those sessions.
Yeah, and I remember, well, you guys talked about it on your, what do you call that series with Chris?
The monthly.
Yeah. Bit loose on that one this month. I'd had a few beers when we started recording that one.
Yeah. I like Toby getting in about bringing a pacer and then just dropping the anchor once they step off.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with those boys at Box Hill.
No, well, you made a good point too. You said the same thing.
Yeah, that was gutsy. I loved what him and Matt, the Mad Snake Buckle, did.
Yeah, but he was right. It doesn't make sense to do that. I didn't even really think about it at the time. I'm like, why actually would you do that? But anyway, we're off on a tangent.
Yeah, why are we talking about that?
Oh, I was going to say, I was in good shape to start preparing for a marathon.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in shape to run a marathon. That is, and that's, I was thinking that on my run. I need to get back to that point.
It's that listening question last week. Like you could drop down and run a good 5 or a good half or a good 10, anywhere else in between, but probably not a marathon.
Marathon, different ball game, different sport nearly. It's the most different. It's probably that and like the 400. They're the outliers, right? Everything else maybe the 800, but everything in the middle you can kind of get away with. But they're the ones that need specific training.
I reckon you could run a decent 8 off that kind of work too. You're doing strides once a week.
It wouldn't be great, but you could get through it.
I nearly broke 2 last year, remember? Ran 2 flat.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
So where to from here, Moose? Now that you're back.
What do you got? Run for the kids Sunday?
No, I'm not.
Kells Park.
Cross country, yeah. So I'm going to do cross country and then hit up the Berlin block. So more just getting ready for that block. I'm got an eye on it. 10 weeks out, 12 weeks, and that's what I'm going to aim for. So I want to be fit.
195 days Berlin. People are counting down.
Yeah. So what's
Christian's counting down. Toby's counting down.
So it's about 100 days before you'd start your block.
Yeah.
It's a while, isn't it?
Probably even more. 10 weeks is only 70 days. You got 125 days until you start the block.
Okay. Well, better fill it with some running.
Better fill it. That's a good week. Krogs, tell us about your week. Sickness.
Yeah, so Monday I took the day off because I just felt the back end of last week. I just felt a bit flat, and I wasn't sure whether it was just all of the last few weeks catching up with me, because I definitely felt like I turned a corner from a fitness point of view, but just felt really flat on the Saturday afternoon run, and then not amazing on the Sunday. So I went to work on Monday, but I'm like, I'm just going to take a day off because I think I was trying to get 5 weeks without a day off. But I wouldn't say I was sick. And then I went to work on Tuesday, and once again, just felt really flat. And I thought, I'll go out to meet the group for a session and I'll just see how I feel. I started warming up, and I'm like, nah, I'm not ready. I shouldn't do a session. So did the warm up with them, and then just ran a few extra laps while they were doing their session. So I did 11.5K at 4:29s. And then I thought, got home and we recorded the podcast. I woke up the next morning. I'm like, yeah, smart decision not doing the session because I feel actually pretty good today. So I went out and did 90 minutes, listened to Road to London. So I did 20.6K at 4:22s, and then spent the rest of the day with Lily and didn't feel sick at all. And then went back to work Thursday, went out that afternoon for 45 minutes, 4:26s, and I'm like, this run doesn't feel very good. And then I got home and then started to get this sore throat and congested head, and had a really shit sleep. It wasn't a full on fever, but it was just that one where I couldn't work out whether I was hot or I was cold. And I'd still planned to meet the group on the Friday morning for a session, which was going to be a progression run. I thought I'll rock up and I'll just run with some of the slower guys, and plus I'd organised. I was going to pace during our cool down. I was going to pace a guy that wanted to run close to 20 minutes for 5K, so I was going to run a 20-minute 5K as a cool down and pace him. But I got to just after midnight, and I wasn't sleeping, and I was just it'd be stupid getting up at 5:30 to go and do this session. So I messaged the group saying, no good, won't be there. So I took Friday off, felt garbage. Took Saturday off, still didn't feel great. Sore throat went, but then it was just congested, runny nose, that sort of thing. And then I went out yesterday morning actually, did 47 minutes at 4:30s. Wasn't great, but I'm not sick enough that I don't think I can run, but I know that I'm not firing on all cylinders. So and then even today, because it was a public holiday here, I was sort of umming and ahhing all day. I went to run this morning, jumped in the car, and the battery was dead. So NRMA roadside assistance came and changed that. So then I was umming and ahhing all day whether I'd actually go for a run this afternoon. And I did, and I felt okay, but it's just frustrating. So it was a week of 52K, and I was probably due for an easy week, but it's not sort of the easy week that I wanted. And I just feel like my momentum's sort of fucking gone. And that's I get a lot of confidence from just stringing a really big block of training together. And then when I have something like this, I feel although I haven't lost, I'm not going back to where I was in January. It's just not good for the confidence. And especially because my motivation's actually pretty high at the moment. Just listening to the monthly and hearing Toby, how disciplined he is with what he does, and it sort of made me regret in the past, I've obviously focused on running a lot over 20 years, but I don't think I've ever been that dedicated to do that many 1%ers that he does. And I'm not saying that I'd ever get back to that, but part of me is should I just give it one last sort of crack, having another go of, trying to get my mileage up there, training sensibly, and just seeing whether I can get back under 220 again, especially now when you see people like Sinead and Lisa, because as I was approaching 40, I was sort of no one runs that well once they turn 40, but they've all proven that you can. So so motivation's high, but my body's just body's good actually. That's probably why my motivation's high, because I haven't felt this good for a couple of years in terms of last year was pretty good from a movement point of view. So body's good, but just keep having these sicknesses that come up every couple of months, which is hard to get that sort of consistency. So
Mate, it's 1 week.
I know it's 1 week.
That week of recap was great. Strong over the hill, stringing it together. You're not going to lose fitness off 10 days. Don't let it get in your head. You're in a good spot. You're skipping along that long run at bloody Bathurst 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Like that was that after that week, like that, I had a lot of confidence coming off. You know, felt good training with Moose, felt good on that long run, and then the Friday session, the following Friday we had here in Canberra was good as well. Yeah. So like I know I've come a long way since January, but you know what it's like when you
that's the way we're wired. We focus on the negatives.
You have your momentum halted, and you're like, I've got to sort of get going again now.
Yeah,
so,
you'll be right though. You string 2 or 3 days together off this sickness, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh, a question for you. What's your criteria of whether you go out and run or not when you're borderline? Like obviously, if you've got massive fever, can't get out of bed, like that's easy. You're not going to go for a run. What's the criteria where you're not sick? Like you could still go to work, but you know you're not feeling great.
If it's gonna get me sicker, like if I feel like it's going to be detrimental to my health, then I will not run. If I feel like the sickness is not going to get worse if I go out and jog, then I'll go out for a jog.
Yeah.
And it'd be easy. There's no way to even consider doing a workout or a long run, even a medium long run. It's almost like, can you jump through the hoop of 30 minutes? And then the next
30 minutes is max.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then if you feel good the next day, it's like, all right, we'll go for 45, then maybe 60, and then it's like reassess where you're at then.
Yeah,
hey,
that's what I've been doing.
I still think people get caught up on these short layoffs though, and I see it in coaching all the time. People lose confidence, and it's like, let's look at the last 7 days. It's not great, but let's look at the last 3 months. It's amazing. Like, let's focus on the bigger picture.
My last 3 months hasn't been amazing though, Brady.
From mid-Jan through to March, I'm looking at your Strava now.
It's not that many weeks though. When you can,
the last 5 years have been pretty consistent. Like you still got that minimum base. You're still a smooth mover. I think I think sometimes we've got to look at the bigger picture, not just the most recent things.
Yeah, true. But also thinking, Moose, we need to. Have you still got those notes about you wrote down after Ellie's World Cross run?
Yeah,
because I think it'll be worth us in the next week sitting down and just going through that, because I feel like we're almost, you and me are in a similar position where like we've been in the wilderness for a couple of years now, and we're not the runners that we were a couple of years ago, and we're coming back. Like we're not coming back from having a baby, but I reckon there's a lot of things that you wrote down that are relevant to Ellie that would also be relevant to us.
For sure. And I was even thinking, why don't we just get Ellie on, because she we'll do it all together, because she can provide more insight than I can.
Yeah.
And it's better off having her explain it, because she's the one who did it. So let's organise a night where we do that.
All right. Cool.
Sounds
but
good.
if anyone wants to take a slab, I will bet a box that Croaks runs under 220 again.
Jeez, Moose, that's kind.
It's not. I'm not trying to be kind. I'm trying to get beer from people, because I wouldn't bet that just to be nice to you.
I'm tempted
Brady's taking it.
I'm tempted to take it, not because I don't believe in his athletic ability to do it. I think the big question is, will he get on the start line? Because unless he's in 218 shape, he probably won't get on. Do you know what I mean?
I think I'd take it I'd jump on the start line if I could go into 220.
What happened to the philosophy is, though, like, if I don't break my PB, I'm not racing. That's what concerns me in this bet.
Well, I've been thinking about that, and I don't want to get 15 years down the track and regret, sitting on the sidelines when I still had some decent years left in me.
Yeah, go back and listen to me 50 episodes ago. I reckon I was saying that exact thing.
You're going to take that?
No, because I'm a big fan of you, like the way you move, your natural talent. Like, you don't need a lot of training. I think you've got a lot of ability, and I want to see more of it in action. So, no, I'm not going to take it.
Don't take it. Okay.
A lot of people will, though, Moose.
How are you going to do it, Moose? Start a website?
DMs will be running hot the next week.
No, I won't be paying out, because the thing is, when does it end? There's no time frame on this.
You need to take it just with someone who's associated with the podcast. So, like, if Ali, Sinead, Nick Earl, Zaka, maybe a Christian or Toby, maybe any of those 6 or 7 want it, we can say they've taken it.
I reckon Toby will jump on it. He's never seen you fit before.
Motivation is definitely like high. Like I probably enjoy my running the most I have in the last like 3 or 4 years, and a lot of it comes down to meeting the group now twice a week, and even Sundays we've got a long run group happening now. So keen to get back on the horse once I get over this sickness.
Did you get a bib for Berlin? September?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. No.
All right. See, that's
I got
another thing,
nothing
Bruce.
lined
He's
up
got to
other than-
find a good race and get into one.
Yeah. Maybe
Doesn't like travelling.
Seville next year, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Potentially.
Okay.
Getting
But
into
I'm
those ones are hard, though, because so many people are good that run them.
Yeah, like I need to string together. What I'm missing is a good 4 or 5 month block of just getting strong again. Yeah, so that's the goal over winter.
That's the goal. I'll go through my week. Had a good one. Hit some mileage this week. Third didn't start really well though because Hudson had a shocking sleep Sunday night. I think I was in his bed at about 2 a.m. And then, slept in a bit longer. Just did my 30 minutes in the morning.
What's the matter with him? Was he sick?
Yeah, he's been sick. Kind of got that stuff that Croaks is kind of talking about. Like, it's not really bad, but just hangs around for ages. Like a bit of a chesty cough, like a bit flat, lack of appetite. Croaks, you got that?
A little bit, yeah. Runny nose?
Runny nose as well, yep. Same kind of thing. Like, he can still function, but he just kind of was low on energy and then just, wakes up coughing in the night. So I think I was in there at midnight and then I went back to our bed and then he woke up again at 2. So I just stayed in there with him to get him through to about 6 a.m. So I just did 30 minutes at 4:37s. Then I did 70 minutes after work at 4:31s. Usually I like to do that the other way around, but it wasn't too bad. Listen to the Science of Sport podcast with Ross Tucker. Really good episode. Talked about transgender like athletes in sport. They talked about the Pete Bowl EPO tests. Jonathan Marcus, your mate Moose, who you talk about a bit on this show. They talked about
him.
They talked about his tweets and stuff and how he spoke about Yared Nuguse and his technique, like if that would be potentially because he kind of said it, but he didn't say it, didn't he? Like that he accused him of wouldn't have been able to run that fast unless he had performance enhancing drugs. So they kind of spoke about that. Yeah. And then they also spoke, like the main episode was about barefoot running and the benefits of that and actually the science behind it. So I enjoyed that. Made 70 minutes go super quick. On the Tuesday morning, Can you give us a quick little summary of the Peter Bowl chat? Yeah, very much without the Australian lens on. And they kind of made jokes of a couple of like articles that were written, how they'd kind of taken his side. And then they kind of made that Kenyan Russian point that we've made on this show as well about if it was a different athlete from a different country. And then they just spoke about the test and that atypical test and then why they were testing him so often after that. And then they kind of made the point, Ross Tucker did, that now they can't ban him because they haven't got the evidence to ban him, but at the same time they've still got evidence that he's failed a drug test, but they need that next bit of evidence. And they used an example it was a sprinter, I think, that's happened to before. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they're like it's happened before that they hadn't been able to like pin the second test on the athlete so they could still compete. But it was good to see different people who don't have that Australian connection to him speak about it. Highly recommend listening to that because I pretty much just murdered that summary there. But that's generally what I do on this show. Tuesday, got out for a 12K tempo. So I'm just following my program from exactly this time last year because I was happy with how I ran like the shorter distances, I guess, like not so much the marathon at the end of the year, but the 5, the 10s, the 15Ks, the half. And I ran a 12K tempo on this same week last year at 3:20 pace. So I had that on my program for this one. The idea was to go a bit further, but go a bit slower than I usually have been on a Tuesday for my threshold work. I got out a bit quick. I think the first K was like 3:11. And I remember looking down and being like, this is quicker than what I've been doing threshold work at. But it felt kind of really good. And then the whole workout, like I slowed down a bit, but every time I looked at my watch, I kind of just had to put the brakes on because I was kind of going a bit too fast. And I probably think it's off the back of no running over the weekend. So I had that boys weekend last weekend. So I think I was relatively fresh and the pace just came a bit easier compared to a usual Tuesday morning when I've got a 2-hour plus long run, probably still in my legs from 48 hours before. So I averaged 3:16 to 12K. It felt good. And then I got
average the year before
3:20s. But I don't want to get in that trap of like going quicker.
Well, I was going to ask Moose, what do you think about just copying what you did the same week last year?
With the context that I ran Melbourne Marathon on the same weekend as I ran Valencia Marathon in December.
I think it can be dangerous though
Can
when
be,
you're
to compare.
trying to just chase, what you were doing.
But at the same time, you've got a blueprint.
Mm.
You're just like, this got me to, 18:25 at Jells Park in April. One trap I do have is...
you're a different runner. Things are different now. You've learnt things. Surely you've got to take on board what you've learnt.
For marathon stuff, you mean?
Well, yeah, throughout the last year of running, you've surely learnt things about yourself and about training. And
yeah, well, the thing I implemented this time last year was at 1:45 on the midweek. Because I think this time last year I interviewed Rab. So I haven't quite put that in yet because I don't want to get up that early. But I think that's the next thing that needs to go in. But yeah, you're right. I want to get into the gym. I've got to get in the gym. Moama Gym opening this week. And Moama McDonald's. 2 big things coming to Moama this week. Got out for 30 minutes in the afternoon Tuesday, 4:36s. Wednesday was 90 minutes before work. Dark, wet. It's not good. People out there listening, people working out early in the morning. It doesn't get light till very late at the moment. And we're even doing like 7K warm-ups because we just can't see the road to start our actual workout. So we've got to keep jogging around. So I'm feeling you. If you're one of those people out there in the darkness at the moment, I get it. This was one of those days. Road to London, enjoyed that. Then 30 minutes in the afternoon Wednesday, 60 minutes Thursday morning, 4:35s, 30 minutes in the afternoon, 4:31s. And then Friday I did a bit of, kind of like speed work, not all out speed work, but kind of like that pace, probably 5 to 7K kind of race effort. Did 14 by 500, off a minute walk, just real blue collar, straight down a road, wait for your watch to beep at 500, wait there for a minute, go back again. Averaged like 128, 129. So kind of like not all out, but I'm doing a lot of reps at a fastish pace without blowing the doors off. So that was some like good honest work. And then at school, we've got this, so all the kids at our school, like 550 kids, do different fitness rotations every morning before school starts. And our grade 3-4s, which is where I work, we've been doing kilometre club for 3 weeks. That's like our rotation. So I've got like a 520 concrete track that goes around our like big oval at school. And usually the kids run around for 10, 15 minutes and then us teachers just stand there and just watch the kids. And we got talking last week about what pace... We got heaps of male teachers in our area at school. It's really good. We got talking about what pace someone could potentially run a lap in. And I got talking to this guy and I said, no one can run this in under 1:30 because I knew that was like 3-minute K pace. And I think it's pretty quick if some person who's not into athletics can punch a 500-metre lap of a school oval at 3-minute K pace. So the day after I said that to Jared, his name was, he rocked up, bought a backpack, unzipped his backpack, pulled out a pair of Next Percents, put them on, started doing some leg swings. I'm like, you're going to have to like jog a lap. Surely you're going to have to do something here to like warm up. Did no warm up. And then he punched a lap in 1:32, which I thought was pretty impressive. And then ever since then, a different staff member has just caved under the peer pressure of doing a lap to see how fast they've been able to do it. And I'd just slowly been like, nah, I'm not doing it. Check my old Strava data. I did this in 2015. I don't have to do it. But all the kids were getting into me about having to go. So I took the Next Percents down also. Did a couple of laps warm-up. Did about 1.5K warm-up around the oval. And then punched a lap in 1:23, boys. Just about 240K pace. In the button-up shirt, the chino shorts. Got the new staff course record. And I reckon that record's safe. A few other guys are going 1:34. But Jared, 1:32, is the next best at the moment. Didn't do a hammy. And then went in and taught a bit of literacy after that. So that was probably not the smartest thing off the back of like 14 500s about 45 minutes earlier. But you just got to do what you got to do sometimes in your workplace when there's peer pressure coming towards you.
Imagine him walking into the staff room after that, Moose. Hey, chest pumped out.
I wanted to put up a honour board or something in the staff room. A bit of a ladder. The thing
it's
been
a while since he's had a race win, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've got to take that one. So I did get out for 30 minutes after school, 4:38s. And then I did the podcast with Christian and Toby, what you guys were talking about before. So that was good fun for a Friday night. Saturday, 70 minutes at 4:43s. And then Sunday, I did 2 hours and 20 minutes at 4:12 pace. Archie and Glenn were there for bits and pieces. Went out bush. Pretty much like 95% of it was on dirt. hit some spider webs. You guys been hitting spider webs? Like, you know, when you're in the bush and you just run straight through them. And I hit one and it was like a dirty one. So like my eyes just saw like blackness and I'm like, I'm going to die. Like I've just ran straight through like a massive like spider here that's now on my face. And I was like swearing and like screaming. The boys were laughing at me. And then I figured out it was just a bit of dirty spider web. But that was my week, 170, 2 or 3 more of those fellas and we were going pretty well, I reckon.
You taking any like gels on your long runs?
No, I never take gels on long runs unless it's like at pace. I saw you pulled one out Bathurst the other week.
Yeah, I sometimes do. Just like I figure, a few years ago, like when I was like so serious about trying to break 220, I went through this whole phase of like doing fasted long runs. So I would basically just have coffee and not even eat toast beforehand.
Yeah, Andy does that.
Like my body got to the point where I could run like 2 hours 40, like with nothing. Whereas now, like there's no way I'd be able to do it. So your body does adapt, whether it's actually good for you. So I decided to take one in Bathurst. One, because I knew it was going to be my longest run, since I got injured, and I'd done a session the day before, and maybe it means that I pull up a bit better after it. So yeah.
Yep. No, I do when sometimes I'll carry one and I'm like, if I feel things are going pear-shaped, I might take it. But yeah, not one shorter than 2.5 hours. But I emailed Gold Coast the other day because Gold Coast is only 16 weeks away. So I've got to start getting that long run out if I'm going to run Gold Coast Marathon. I know you said it's a trap moose, but I think I'm going to do it because I don't have any other opportunities to race.
Good appearance fee money?
Wasn't too bad, actually, for a hack like me. I was pretty happy with your mate, Ryan McDonald, what he replied.
Yeah, right.
It's worthwhile going.
When did you run your 219?
That's, ages ago.
Oh, boy.
So 2018, I reckon I ran that.
Damn.
Did I? Was that when me and you were in the Gold Coast? I ran 2:20s, though, since then. The resume doesn't look too bad.
Oh, I'd say that's a big marker, that 220.
It is, but I reckon if you get some context, you go, he's ran 2:20 at Melbourne. That's worth half a minute.
But it was 24, not 20. It was a little warm. Do you do that too?
I didn't say that, no.
The resume comes, he asks you for your times, you go 220 and then asterisk and go, but it was pretty warm.
It was hot. Do you reckon I should have sent in my Valencia halfway split? 220, but went through in 68. Come on. Had a really good 30K, but the last 12 was pretty bad.
Got a blister.
Anyway, so that's what we're doing. Let's thank some Patreon supporters. Bradley, you want to kick us off?
I got Jack McGaffin this week. Jack's from Narellan in New South Wales, so it's one of the western suburbs, western suburbs of Sydney. He ran the 2021 NAB Run West 12K in 52:15 and went through 10K in 43 minutes, which is 10K PB according to Strava. And that run that I just mentioned, that 12K, they go through like Sydney Zoo. So that's a pretty cool event. Not sure if it's still going or not. He also ran the Cosy 50K last year in 6 hours 50. I think he has a couple of dogs, maybe a kid, and possibly been diving with sharks. So thanks for your support, Jack.
Thanks, Jack. Ticking all the boxes there, isn't he? Kids, dogs, sharks.
Yeah, there's a picture
races
on his Strava where it's obviously like a video where he's obviously looks like he's been in a cage, and they film the shark coming up to the cage and stuff like that. There's just a picture there.
Moose, who you got?
I've got... This is a name that needs... you sure you spelt this right, Craigs?
Yeah, I cut and pasted it from Patreon. But do you know what? Brady went in and actually coloured which Patreon he was going to have today.
I went into the notes today and no one was colour-coded, so I just picked my own one.
So he picked his own one.
I do like the Norwegian guys, though, Patreon sports. And I do have to apologise to Magnus. I said his 5K PB incorrectly last week. His PB was like 14:54, and I think I said 15:54, and he's not happy about it.
So I'm sorry, Moose, because when I saw Brady had gone in and picked his own, I was going to change it so that he had to do this one. But
do you want me to have a go at it, Moose?
You can have a crack at it. I mean,
Trygve,
Angvorg,
Trygve.
Trygve.
Yeah, they need to put an E in there or an I.
I don't think you can tell people how to do their language.
Yeah, but someone needs to. If it isn't going to be me, who's it going to be?
What about the next bit of info though, Moose? For
It's
this
a
guy?
masculine given name, most common in Norway.
There's some issues. There's some issues here anyway. So, Trygve Anvord he's from Oslo. Wonder if he's from that real ritzy part that Christian's from. Brady and Toby are the only Australians he follows on Strava. Now, I'm trying to work out the similarities there. They're both 219 guys. So maybe he likes 219 guys, like he's got a thing for 19. They're both real short, kind of dweeby blokes. Maybe that's it.
Don't get out much.
I get out heaps. I was on a boys' weekend last week at the pubs. At the pubs.
Probably.
I just think he likes our monthly show, I reckon. He's a big Road to Valencia fan from back in the day.
Well, obviously, he's a big fan of the new one. But anyway, he's run 37.26 at the 2021 Oslo Marathon 10K. Has a photo with Henrik Ingebrigtsen. Henrik's the easiest photo to get of those three, I reckon. He's like the...
he was a trailblazer, though.
He's the entry-level Ingebrigtsen. We think he's an investment manager at Arnvord Gruppen. Oh, well, yeah, that's his surname. So he's probably a partner there. He's probably a owner. Real estate, financial, and industrial investments. Damn, that's white collar as well, isn't it? Mm. Do you know we don't have a lot of plumbers or electricians or carpenters signing up to this too?
We never thank a plumber, do we?
We did. Remember, was it Toro Electrical?
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. He did own his own business, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
If they're tradies, they got their own business.
Yeah.
I've got Ewan Doonan from Richmond, Victoria. Estimated best of 17:45 at the Phillip Island Park Run in 2018, but may have ran 16:46 at the Lilydale Lake Park Run in 2019. He ran 36:36 at the 2021 Melbourne 10K. Has been pretty quiet on Strava since October. It appears he was training pretty well for Melbourne 10K, but he got sick the week before. I think he also used to do a fair bit of cycling at an elite level. So thanks, Ewan, for your support. Hope you enjoyed the bonus content. Hope you enjoy Sinead, Ali and Nick every Wednesday. Hopefully you enjoy the early release that comes out every Monday night. And I hope you enjoyed the monthly with Toby and Christian, which comes out once a month. And you get early shoe geeks. There's a lot to be liked about being a Patreon supporter. And you can check out all the details at patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast if you want more, or if you just want to support independent running media here in Australia.
If there is one marathon you do this year, really make it count. We're ecstatic to announce that the Sydney Marathon is a candidate race for the prestigious Abbott World Marathon Majors. To help us reach our goal of becoming one of the world's best, we need passionate runners like you to join us on this amazing journey. Incredibly, we're already on our way to our target of 15,000 marathon finishers, with almost 7,000 registered from all over the world. 2023 is set to be the biggest marathon Sydney has ever seen. By securing your spot in the Sydney Marathon, you'll be contributing to our success and helping us to join the ranks of world-renowned marathons such as New York City, London, Boston, Chicago, Berlin, and Tokyo. Run over the Sydney Harbour Bridge and past some of Sydney's most beautiful icons before finishing at the world-famous Sydney Opera House. Grab your mates and register today so we can make history in the best way we know how, together.
Running news, boys. I'll kick things off. Sydney Track Classic happened, which incorporated the Australian 3,000 metre championships. I'll start with Jessica Hull because this was the big story from this meet. She ran 8:31.81, which is the Australian record. She took about, I'm going to say 4 seconds, you'll be able to correct me, Croaks, off her already Australian record. Dominant.
It was 8:36-ish.
Yeah, 4 or 5 seconds. Absolutely dominated the field. She won by 19 seconds with Rose Davies in second, 8:50. Amy Bunnage, the youngster who won Zatopek Kids under 23k in 8:51.9. She was in a different league. Nozomi Tanaka, the Japanese princess that Zaka refers to her as, was the pacemaker, and she paced her through until about 1,400 metres to go. And it was like a different race. There was Hull out the front hunting the Australian record and everyone else in the next pack. And she absolutely proved why she is probably the greatest Australian distance runner at the moment in those female track races. Do it, boys. Put on a clinic.
Yeah, it was impressive. Like, I really feel like she's turned the corner in the last, 6 weeks, because I think we spoke about her after the World Cross trials. I thought she would win the trial, given it's 2K cross country. I thought she'd, get over the top of Abby Caldwell, and being on course, I felt like in that last 400, she just didn't look as strong as what you normally expect from Jess. And it was a period where I guess she's getting married as well. But since then, she was phenomenal at World Cross, looked so good. And then obviously had a really good 1,500 battle with Abby down in Melbourne. And then, is clearly back to her best now. So good signs for the rest of the season, or international season.
Yeah, just ticking the box early. Moose, anything to talk about there?
No, I just I missed all this because I was away, but I did see the replay of the last 200 just flash up on the screen. Oh no, sorry, this was the 1,500 from the week before in Melbourne. That's my bad. I didn't see any of this. I'm sorry. Two
very good races she's put together now, that Melbourne and the Sydney one.
It's been good though seeing her in Australia for so long, because normally she's based over in the US, so we don't get to see much of her, and she's still here until the national champs in a couple of weeks' time, where I think she's going to do both the 15 and the 5K. But she's a fantastic ambassador for the sport. She's always just so bubbly, with interviews and with kids and stuff like that. So, we've got a good one there.
Yeah, good crowds there as well, it looked like. Jude Thomas won the men's race back-to-back, 7:48.25. Ben Buckingham tried to shake him with about 800 to go, put the foot down, couldn't quite, and then Jude came over him probably about 120 metres to go around the final bend there and just had that youthful kick away, but Bucks was 7:48.9. Rory Hunter, your man from ACT Croaks, was third in 7:49.3. Cameron Myers, the junior, he was fourth, and fifth, was he? There was someone in between, wasn't there? Who was in between?
It was Hansen,
Jimmy Hansen, that's right. Myers ran 7:52, and he set the Australian under-18 and under-20 Australian record. He didn't look as good as he did in the miles, the 1,500s, and Jude was very impressive out in front, and same with Bucks' kind of strength to do what he had to do there. Do you reckon he needed to do that, Cam Myers? Did he need to race 3K against the Open guys as a 17-year-old? 7:52 is good, but not 3:55 mile equivalent.
No, but I think running a 3K as a 16-year-old's not an issue.
Yeah,
it's not
true.
Certainly not a distance.
Yeah,
and
that's right. Yeah.
I would, if he doesn't run it, then he doesn't have the Aussie record. Not that he's going to do bigger and better things than these records in the future, but I think I'd happily take a 7:52 as a 16-year-old. And I think obviously the longer the distance, the less impressive he's going to be, given his age, given the volume that he runs, and just that strength factor. But he's still quite smart, because at one point there it looked like he was gone, but he has this ability just to know when he's going into the red, and he just dials it back a little bit. And his last 200 was lightning. He still came home really strong compared to the others.
Yeah, no one's going to outkick him, are they?
So I think it was fine that he did it.
Yeah, I probably more meant just don't want to see him over-raced. Stuff like that, be careful. 800 metres, Riley McGowan from the ACT, he won that in 1:46.08. Charlie Hunter, 1:46.18 for second. Jack Lyon, 1:46.4 for third. It was a photo with Brad Mathers, who was just pipped for that third spot in fourth. Abby Caldwell, she smashed the 800. She ran at 1:58.62. which moves her to number 2 all time behind Kat Bissett as the Australian record holder. George Griffith was second in 2:41. Ali Sanford was third in 2:87. Similar to Jess in the 3K, Abby, different league. Although it was only a second and a half, it looked nearly 2 seconds. It looked longer than that on the footage. Like she was in a different league down that home straight to run her 1:58.6. Would have been interesting to see how she would have went in the 3K. Would have she went with Jess at that Australian record pace? But I guess she's got that range that she can step down and still be amazing over 800. Obviously, second fastest all time. Thoughts?
Oh, huge run. And I love that she continues at the 800 like she is, given her age and what it will do for her 1500 as well, because of the paces they're going to need to run in the 15 now. You're going to have to be a 157, 158, 800 runner to be able to compete. And so her having that type of speed, it just bodes well for championship racing in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it sets her up. Like last year, like she wasn't that well known before Com Games. Like she was well known due to the debacle about the selection. And, she hit her straps sort of at the end of last season, whereas I think she's gone from a surprise packet to she'll establish herself over this next 6-8 months as being like on the world stage, like a big hitter. So she's there now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Nagoya results, Croaks, Japan. We had a few Australians going around there.
Yeah, so I was trying to watch a bit of this while I was looking after the kids while Viv was at the horse races. But, Ruth Chepngetich, she basically from the gun was just on her own. She was a couple of minutes up at halfway. So she faded a little bit compared to what she went through halfway, but she ran 2:18.08 for the victory. Ayuko Suzuki was second in 2:21.52. Hanami Maeda was third in 2:22.32. From the Aussie perspective, Izzy Batt-Doyle was the first Aussie in 10th place, running 2:27.54, which was a small PB and a World Championships qualifier, I believe. Eloise was 18th in 2:32.08, and Sarah Klein was 24th in 2:33.51. So Eloise was, 71. Just under 72 through like halfway. So tough second half for Eloise there.
She went out hard. I think you picked it, didn't you, Croaks? When you're looking at the splits, you just thought this could end badly for Eloise.
Yeah, I just thought, I just sensed when I spoke to her a couple of weeks ago, when I asked her how her prep had been and how her fitness compared to when she ran 2:25 last year, and she was sort of like, it's been a different prep, which, often means, there's been a few interruptions, which she did say that she'd been sick a little bit. And where'd she run, like Marigami, wasn't a great run for, an athlete of her caliber. So I thought, she's basically going through halfway faster than what she ran a couple of weeks ago. So, I thought it was maybe a bit ambitious for where she was at, but yeah.
That qualifying time's 2:28.00, Moose. Correct?
Yeah. Was it 00 or 30? 2:28.30.
Well, it says Izzy just dipped under after she carved a 6 seconds off her debut result from Melbourne last year. And I think she just missed it there, didn't she? I reckon she was like 1 or 2 seconds over.
Yeah.
You should know that, Moose. Ali's got to hit this time. But then afterwards, it says in this article from Athletics Australia, saw her become the 6th Australian female to dip under the World Athletics Championship qualifying standard from Budapest. Who's got it? Oh, sorry, no, I'm thinking Olympics.
Yeah, no, the Olympic standard is 2:26 something.
Yeah, sorry, and that's only Lisa and Sinead have that one, don't they?
In the period,
because it only opened just before Valencia.
It was November. It was a few weeks before Sinead ran.
Yeah. Okay. I keep forgetting Budapest is on. So does that mean, who are the 6 that have the world champs then? Jess, maybe, from Com Games?
Yep. So it'd be...
Oh, and maybe Eloise from Nagoya last year.
Yeah, she ran 2:25 there. Yeah.
Gets a bit confusing. Thoughts on Izzy? She would have been looking for more than a 6-second PB, you would have thought.
Yeah, I reckon she would have been.
What'd she split half in, Moose? Croaks?
73. Yeah, 73 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think she probably would have seen Lisa run 2:23 a week before and think, yeah, I've got that covered. But smart that she went out. I remember Ali told me the plans before the day, and she said, Izzy's going with this group. And I'm like, that is smart from her to go and get another one on the board, to learn the marathon like this. I feel like that's what people don't respect anymore, is that they think it's just every chance they get, they go for the top goal, the big, massive swing at it. We go all in, full send, ride or die bullshit. Whereas Izzy's gone, no, let's learn the race a bit more. And clearly, because of that positive split, like, she played it perfectly. She ran, I think she's going to be a really good marathoner, actually. I think she's smart enough and disciplined enough to be good.
And I think it also shows that just because, like Izzy, beat Sinead in that half a couple of weeks ago and would probably back herself to, at least run what Lisa does over 5 and 10K and potentially even half. But the fact that Lisa's been doing this marathon game and Sinead's been doing it a lot longer, it does take a few marathons to build that strength, or even just training for a marathon. I think each block you do, you tend to just get that little bit stronger. So, although it was only a small PB, she's heading in the right direction. That, I wouldn't be surprised that the next one, potentially will take a couple of minutes off that for a third one. Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, you don't.
No, I'm just thinking aloud. What's it mean? Because Jess announced she was pregnant a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, last weekend.
Yeah, probably last week.
Because they still all get another go, don't they?
Well, are you talking for world champs?
No, I'm talking about Olympics. I think
they've got like a year, basically.
When will qualifying close for that? Like March next year?
Something like, or
maybe so she can potentially
maybe even April.
She could potentially do 2 more. You do a spring one, our spring, and then you go again in autumn.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time.
She's got time to learn it and work on that, getting it down.
And it's going to be interesting to see who takes the World Championship spots, given that, is it going to be hot? And if it is going to be hot, then, some of these girls that want to make the Olympics probably will forego that because, it's, in a way, it's a bit of a wasted marathon if, they need to run 2:23, 2:24.
Unless the criteria says
they finish top 10 or something.
Top 10's guaranteed for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it is. A few dynamics here. I don't think any of them will want to do it. Or maybe like you get someone like Izzy, but then she'll want to run the Olympics. I don't know. World champs is still a world champs. It's still a pretty awesome thing, but these runners are so high caliber. They're not just about collecting singlets, I guess. They want the top. They want to be at the top. They want to go to the Olympics. They want to run Australian records. And so going to, Budapest and running a marathon is probably not like high on their priority list.
They also need to get paid too. Which is one concept that doesn't get hit at World Champs, unless you got stuff in like your sponsor bonuses and things like that for certain positions. Jess is due in September. If the qualifying is still open in April, she could be going to Paris.
It's a pretty tight turnaround. It's doable, but I mean, the odds are against her, let's be honest. That means September, October, November, December, January. It's going to be hard work.
Your words, Moose. You want to put a slab on it?
Yes.
There you go.
I'll do some maths afterwards.
Shaking hands?
No, I just want to look at a calendar, see how things work, talk to my wife, get some female feedback.
It's hard work. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard work.
If anyone can do it, Jess can, though. Don't sleep on Jess.
I'm not sleeping on Jess.
And she comes back with that double mum strength and smashes everyone like she did at the Com Games.
Our lady marathon is defying physiology at the moment, so maybe it is a hard bet.
Okay, so I guess that will really fill our content for the next couple of years, talking about who can potentially go to Paris for the female marathoners. But you're looking at Sinead and Elisa; they're in a very good position. With potentially, they could probably go, Sinead could nearly do 3 more. You know what I mean? Like she can get up for London, and then she goes something in September.
She's not getting up for London.
And then she goes March.
She ain't getting up for London.
She'll get up for that. You want to slab on that as well?
Yep.
You heard her training?
I've been listening.
I reckon she's fitter off this training than she does running training.
That's 2 slabs.
We'll see how we go.
One you won't get till next year though.
Yeah, and
burn.
I'll take the Sinead one. Maybe next week or the week after.
You might get that one in 6 or 7 weeks. There was a 10K as well, Croaks. Aragowie had a smashing run.
Yeah, 26:33 he ran for a 10K in Spain. It was 9 seconds off the road world record.
Solo after the first K in the rain.
Yeah. Was it 13:15 through 5 and 13:18 for the second 5.
He did look good at cross, didn't he? Like he come third that day.
Yeah.
Took down Commonwealth. Well, second actually. I think he was second. It was Chepngetich third. Anyway, he was in the top. He was on the medal. That was good. Box Hill Classic results, Moose. 3K.
Yeah, so it's always good at Box Hill. Put on a good meet, good viewing. Watch this one. I got it on just in time. So the 3Kers, which is we call it 3K the main field, main race of the night.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So Dale Carroll, he won the race from 8:04. Harry Norman was second in 8:05, and Seth O'Donnell 8:05 as well. So it was a pretty tight finish in the end. You hear a little recap from Toby. He was fourth in this race in 8:05, just slower than Seth. The pacing was a bit erratic early. You got Dejan running 400 PB off the line. It was about 20 metres in front of everybody. Then it kind of got together. They were on 8-minute pace for a fair bit. He pulled out, and then the anchor got thrown. And then actually Toby, for those that aren't Patreons and didn't hear the recap, he got to the front and he made the race work again. So he started injecting the pace again and drove from about 4 laps out to maybe the last lap. I think it was about that. He was the one driving the pace. It was good to see. Sign of strength to be able to do that. And yeah, Dale Carroll, he was the fastest on the last 200, so he ran to 8:04. In the ladies, I did not see this. I was out and about somewhere in Japan. So Piper Gay won in 9:22. She beat Madison King 9:24. Sophie Hall was third in 9:26. In the 15s, Matt Hussey, he knows how to win a race, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah, 3:44. He's outkicked Luke Shaw, 3:44.8, so half a second in front. And Jack Anstey was the third in 3:45. In the ladies, Claudia Hollingsworth, part of the On Athletic Club, 4:19 she won. So is that the first win for that group? I'd say. Well, Bucks won that steeple, but after the announcement maybe.
Yeah,
Georgia Hansen was second in 4:25. So that's a huge win from Claudia Hollingsworth right there. That's massive to beat Georgia Hansen after she was sort of contending at the World Cross Country. And then Lucy Cleveland, third, 4:31, so a bit spread out.
Claudia's got the speed on her though, doesn't she, over Georgia?
Georgia's pretty fast.
Isn't Claudia like a 2 flat, 2:01? 800?
Yeah, but then you win by 6 seconds. That's not like... If you're winning a race by 6 seconds, you're not relying on your pace and your speed.
Georgia's ran 4:11 for 1,500.
Yeah.
And I think Georgia might have been like fourth in that 3K in Sydney as well in like,
I reckon
low 850s.
I reckon she's jogged around and saved herself for the 3K.
Well, why would you do that?
Just get some prize money maybe.
Oh, they got that on there. They got prize money.
I don't know.
In the 800s, Jack Atherton won 148, Alex Bedos 148, and DeGrasse Amakata 149. Ladies, Madeline Murray ran 204, beat Rochelle Kennedy in 2:07, and Yume Kitamura was 2:08. We'll also go north for the Queensland State Champs, 800. Ethan Forbes, 1:52. Sailor Donnelly in 2:05. And then the 1,500, Harvey Cram, 3:49. Sailor Donnelly backed up, pulled the double off. She ran 4:19. So she's run what Claudia's run to win the state champs up there. Doubled.
Hadn't heard of her before either.
No, I hadn't either.
Sailor Donnelly. We'll keep an eye on that name.
Donnelly.
Donnelly. Yeah, what did I say? Donnelly. Double L through me. That's not the traditional way to spell Donnelly, though.
No, but it's how you pronounce it, I'm guessing.
Or Sailor. Anyway, listen to question, Crooks.
All right, so this week's training talk is sponsored by the Sydney Marathon. Join them this September in their bid to become an Abbott World Marathon Major. Learn more at sydneymarathon.com. It features an all-new marathon course, is Australia's fastest marathon with a record of 2:07:03 set last year, new extended cut-off time of 7 hours, increased on-course entertainment, and opportunity for runners to go into the draw to win Abbott World Marathon Major tickets. So the question that we have comes in from Daniel Hocking, and it's a good one, especially given that they want to get 15,000 people across the finish line at the marathon. It means a lot of people will be doing their first marathon. So when you're doing your first marathon, how do you know what paces to run workouts and the marathon at?
It's a good question. It's a good question that doesn't have a definitive answer.
Any broad sort of like rough estimates based on something else that they've run? What do you reckon?
I think you can look at what they're doing for their different distances. First off, like, no one trains for a marathon without doing any other type of distance. So you've got someone's form, you've got their experience, and you've got like race results. So we know where they're at, what sort of level of runner they're at. Then you get to know what sort of athlete they are. Like if you give them 400s, or if you're doing 400s and they're always feel easy, and that's the easiest session you can be given. But if you get a threshold workout or a longer tempo and that's the hardest session you've been given, chances are you're probably more anaerobic type athlete. And so maybe the calculations are going to be different for the person that cannot get to pace for those 400s, and they're terrible for them, but they can run all day at like a steady pace. So there's no right calculation here, and those, like, I don't think those calculators are a bad thing. I know you adore them, Brady, but
I've got it open now, Moose. When I saw this question, I thought I'll just go to Command T, new tab, and just start playing around with some numbers.
I think they're a good place to just, like, for ballpark, but there's a lot of factors that you need to take into consideration. Like, as you said, Moose, like, what type of athlete are they? Given if it's your first, I would always err on the side of caution. And run probably a little bit slower than what the calculators say. And you also got to look at how many miles they run a week. Somebody that's actually training like decent volume, they're probably going to be a lot stronger than somebody that's only running 50K a week. And so the people that are running more volume are probably going to be a better correlation from the half to the marathon than somebody that's not doing the volume.
They're good until you get to the marathon, the calculators. Like, I put my times in and it's pretty much identical to what I've ran 5, 10, 15 half marathon. I think the calculators over the shorter distances do a good job. So you're kind of saying, I think it's good. If you're 10 weeks out from a marathon, your point there, Moose, is it's good to do a 10K or a half marathon or something to get a bit of data about exactly where your fitness is at, and then try to understand yourself as an athlete about which sessions are hard to hit for you. Are they the speed ones or the longer workouts? To then try and get a bit of data around, well, then if you do put that result into the calculator, the marathon, I think, yeah, as you said, Crooks, going slower is going to be faster, better than faster in every single situation.
Yeah. And also I think, the way that most people train for the marathon now in that last 10 weeks have long runs / sessions. So they'll do a long run and then they'll throw some marathon pace stuff on at the end of the long run. You use the calculator as a bit of a ballpark. going, okay, this is what we think roughly will be your marathon pace. And then you go out and try and do that first marathon specific session. And if people are struggling to hit those paces and feel like it's an all out effort, then you know that that's not your marathon pace. So then you can reassess during that training block before you actually get to the marathon based on how those marathon sessions feel.
The percentage of marathon pace is really good as well. So like you can do that. So like, for example, if you run a half marathon, you can put in the calculators. It's then going to spit out a pace mathematically that it's saying you should run a marathon at. Then you can use that pace to work out 90%. Do some long workouts at 90 and see how it feels. And then do some long workouts at 95% and see how it feels. You're going to get some really good data there to be like, no, this isn't achievable, or this is too easy. I need to kind of up it a bit. It's a guessing game though. It's a guessing game for you. And we always say you don't know what your marathon pace is until you finished your marathon.
And that's I think the value of those marathon specific sessions is because you'll get the feedback pretty early on in the marathon block as to, is that actually realistic for the marathon? Because I've had guys that will nail like shorter reps and 30-minute sessions, but you get them to do like 3 or 4K at marathon pace after they've run for 2 hours, and it's the hardest thing ever for them. Yeah. And you go, well, then we need to slow your marathon pace stuff down because you're not capable of running your marathon at that pace.
I think that point about doing stuff on tired legs is really important, because even say like if you do 4x4Ks, you're still only getting the feeling of what it feels like 20K into your race, not what it feels like post 30K.
Yeah.
Which that's the hard feeling to replicate, and you don't want to do too much of that because then you're burning your race before you get there. Anything else, Moose? Super coach, you're good at this stuff.
Not really. I mean, you'll find out your marathon pace about 1 second after you cross the line, won't you? That's when you'll know, and then you'll know for next time. So the first one is always a little bit of a trial because you just never know. And even then, things change. So I don't, as you get more experience, you'll learn to understand the feel. But being your debut marathon, you don't know what it's supposed to feel like yet.
Yeah.
So that's the trickiest bit with all of this. That's the beauty of it. That's the magic of the debut. You don't know.
Well, I think I stuffed up my first one, and yeah. So, but I think the key, is if it's your first one, you want to get through at least 30K feeling quite comfortable and actually enjoying it. So, if you get to 10K and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm working a bit hard, like slow down. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not many examples of people who nail the first one. There's a few, but not many.
Jeff Hunt.
211
on debut and never ran faster.
Yeah.
Jack Rayner, what did he run? He was pretty good.
Yeah, he was 211 low.
Yeah.
Did he DNF before he did that one, though?
Which one did he DNF?
Or did he DNS?
Yeah, I reckon maybe it was Robbo that DNF'd.
Robbo definitely DNF'd Fukuoka. DNF counts as your debut as well. I don't care what anyone says. If you DNF, that doesn't count. That definitely counts as your first go.
There's no one arguing that with you.
No, people argue it all the time.
No,
I've heard people talk about it. Yeah, first finished one.
Yeah, they don't. No.
You'll see it on Let's Run, I reckon, Moose. Anyway, Moose on the loose.
I mean, I could go at Jetstar. That's been pretty rough.
You already have. Give us something new.
What about hotel gyms? Have you spent a bit of time in hotel gyms running on the treadmill?
Occasionally. Try to avoid them as much as possible.
Yeah.
You did the Gold Coast last year, Brady.
Yeah.
Didn't you jump on the treadmill?
Yeah, it was raining, so I got on the treadmill to test it out. It wasn't too bad.
So when you walk in there, like you walk in, what are you thinking? What's in your head as you walk in?
Is the treadmill free? How much am I going to sweat in here?
Yeah.
Is the TV turned on? Like hotel gyms are a lot different than like gyms. Because when you go into the gyms, like everyone's muscly, people in like string singlets, someone's going to fight you. Like you feel out of place in those. Whereas a hotel gym, I feel more in place than a gym.
Is it appropriate to take your shirt off in the gym on the treadmill?
If you're the only person in there, yes.
But you could be the only person and then 2 minutes later someone comes in. Do you put your shirt back on?
I probably would if that was me on the treadmill.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd probably be okay with having my shirt off.
Would you take it off if there were other people in there?
I
I just think it's a bit disrespectful. Like, people just trying to work out in the gym, they don't need to look at you with your shirt off.
Well, how's it any different running along the street with your shirt off?
Because they got options. Go on the other side of the footpath.
Well,
They're stuck in there with you, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well,
you're putting them in an awkward situation that they shouldn't have to be in, especially in your rig.
I reckon it's probably better than, like, what about the people, like, you have that massive sweat patch on your singlet? I reckon that looks worse than just bare skin.
I just think you're just on that line of nudity that you don't need to be in.
What do you think, Moose? I reckon you'd be okay with
He'd
shirt
walk in
off.
with his shirt off. He wouldn't even take a singlet in there.
What shirt? Nah, I kept it on. Like, I walked in, there was the lady doing crunches. Like, it was a pretty tight gym. And so behind the treadie, that's where the core section was, and it was pretty close behind. And then I get up there and I'm running like 15k an hour. I'd come from outside, so I was already profusely sweating. And so all of a sudden, like, sweat's flying everywhere. And I'm sure this lady's copping it because it's coming off the back of my legs and spraying up at her. But what are you going to do? Not go on the treadmill? It's what it's for. But as soon as they did leave, I took the treadie off. I took the top off straight away.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon I would be more inclined. So I would probably leave my shirt on, but I would make sure that I've taken a towel with me so that I could just constantly just wipe myself down because, I reckon there's nothing worse than that feeling of just sweat going everywhere when you're running. Whereas, towel yourself down every now and then, it helps.
Yeah, I mean, toweling yourself down for sure. You need a towel there. But one of the problems was I toweled myself down, so my towel's full sweat now. So, like, sopping wet. I finished the workout and get off, go looking for spray to clean the treadie because it was soaking. Not a single, like, towel or paper towel or anything, no spray, no wipes to clean up with in there. How bad's that? How gross is that?
Yeah, that's not very good.
You wouldn't do that just in, like, the normal Torquay gym, though, would you? Anglesea, where do you live? Areas Anglesea. Like, you can't just go into those gyms and take your shirt off.
Oh, I go to the footy club gym and no, there's no. I wouldn't take. You're not
allowed to wear. You're not allowed to wear a shirt at the footy club gym.
Those boys have actual muscles. No, I wouldn't. I would there. I would take it off there. I wouldn't take it off at the RACV resort that I used to go to. I feel like that would get frowned upon because that's like a full old person, like, white collar gym.
Yeah.
But I reckon if I went to one of those, like, Derrimut 24/7, like the full on, like, Gold's Gym setup, I'm definitely taking my shirt off there because those guys, like, those big bodybuilders, roll along in the full on low cut.
Yeah,
like
string.
What do they call it? Yeah, they call them
string singlets or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do a poll on our Instagram. I want to know what the listeners think.
I'm for it in there.
Because I'm thinking now, like, if I went to the corporate gym here in Canberra, I wouldn't take my shirt off. But if I was at, like, a hotel gym, maybe I would, or I wouldn't care about it as much. But right. It's an interesting question. But then, you run down like Caldwell Ave on the Gold Coast. You're out on a run and you don't have a shirt on. Do you care?
Yeah, but socially acceptable to do that, though. You know what I mean? You're going to see more people with their shirt off than on Caldwell Ave. Even if they're just walking, the beach is just there, Croaks.
Well, any outdoor, like, any time you go for a run outside, if it's hot, you run with your shirt off. It doesn't need to be Caldwell Ave, but
Round the tan in Melbourne.
It's still got to be pretty hot to take your shirt off.
No, it doesn't.
If you're in a public spot. If you're just going on the trails in Moama or Anglesea or whatever, you're not going to see many people. You can have it off. I think it's about that public nudity. I reckon
there'd be a lot of athletes.
People would get offended if you're running around the tan on 22 degrees with your shirt off.
There'd be a heap of athletes that run around there with their shirts off, around the tan.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a country boy, haven't been exposed to this stuff.
Well, next question. Sorry.
Do you reckon some of the MTC boys roll around the tan with their shirt off?
Not unless it's really hot.
I reckon they would.
Don't know.
Sure they would. On an easy jog or a workout?
Well, both. Or say long run.
Doesn't get that hot in Melbourne.
They're doing a long run down in Melbourne on the bike paths in St Kilda or whatever. MTC boys have their shirts off. Yes or no?
I saw Brett Robinson's Instagram video the other day. He had a singlet on Friday.
I reckon some of them would.
Workout.
All right. Is having a shirt off as a male the same as wearing just a crop top as a female? Can we have the same conversation about females in crop tops, not with singlets or t-shirts on, as we're having right now?
No, because like crop tops is what they race in as well. You don't see guys racing without singlets on. I think crop tops are more socially accepted than blokes with singlets off.
Yeah, but it's the same thing.
No, it's not. One's got way more fabric than the other one.
So what's
especially, have you seen how low Andy Buchanan wears his shorts?
Oh, it's disgusting.
Like, that's just creeping down real low. Like,
you know what? He's a teacher. That shit should be fucking followed up on.
Nothing's above his belly button, whereas the girls have the crop top.
So, but you're saying, so if a man just covers his breast area, that's okay? Like, that's different?
Bit of Nick Earl style, you reckon?
No, but you're saying that there's something about, like, the male breast
area. I don't know where we're going with this conversation. I want to go to bed. It's late on a Monday night. I feel like we're going to get cancelled the way this conversation is going. I think you're just keeping digging, trying to get something controversial out of me here, Moose. Folks, what do you think?
It's an odd take from you.
I don't have an issue with guys running with their shirts off. And I think running with a crop top for a female is fine.
No one has issues with girls with a crop top. People have issues with guys with their shirts off.
That's what I'm saying. Why is it different?
Because you can see more skin with the men.
It's skin. It's not like.
What happens if you got a real sloppy rig? What happens if you got a real sloppy rig? You're getting around the tan, and people just want to be walking their dogs, just enjoying a bit of exercise, and they got to put up with that.
Why does it matter if it's sloppy?
Yeah. Then that guy's got good self-esteem.
People just want to enjoy their walk around the tan.
It uplifts me to see someone who's got like a non-traditional, we'll say, tight running rig.
Oh no, my rigs. People don't want to see my rig because you can see my ribs. People will be telling me to put a singlet on. I'm not
Brady,
saying.
I never realised you're so conservative.
Here. Really backtracking here.
I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm like, if you got a skinny rig, put a singlet on. If you got a bit overweight rig, put a singlet on.
Do you want me to ask Viv? Do you want me to ask Viv whether she thinks it's okay for guys to run with their shirt off? She's just here on the couch.
In highly populated areas.
Yeah, I'll ask her.
So, yeah, Yarrabee Pond.
Is it okay for guys to run with their shirt off around Yarrabee Pond?
If it's 22 degrees.
Do you get offended by that? She doesn't get offended by that.
What happens if they've got sloppy rigs? Ask her that bit.
What if they've got sloppy rigs? Is it still okay? She's laughing.
Yeah, she's not happy with that.
Each to their own, she said.
I don't like that you've said that like women can do it but men can't, Brady.
I don't think it's the same thing.
I don't understand why it would be why it's a big deal of the chest thing.
I just think it's unnecessary to have your kid off if it's not that hot.
What's necessary
Falls
about
Creek is a real good example. It's like 16 degrees up there and everyone just takes their singlet off every run.
Yeah, so?
Yeah, just put it away, guys. I don't know.
Don't you notice, though, the cooling is like, if it's hot, like, I cool so much better, like, with no shirt on.
Oh. All it does is hold all your sweat. It gets heavy and causes chafe. It's really insecure coming from you.
Get extra heat gains with the singlet on.
Real conservative type, Brady.
Yeah, I don't like it. Don't like this side of him. Too much time in my over with Archie Reid.
It's rare anyone pulls a singlet off up here. It's like 40 degrees every day. Anyway, what's coming up, boys? Good chat. Went around in circles, but I think we got there. What's coming up, Bradley? What are you doing?
Not much from me. I was trying to think in putting in the what's coming up. Any big races in the next 7 days? I couldn't really think of anything that's coming up this weekend.
When's Queensland Track Classic?
It's in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then Nationals is in 3 weeks.
Run for the Kids this Sunday.
Okay.
You never know who's going to rock up there, though. Toby's racing, the bad boy. He might win it, Moose.
He'd be more primed for this than he will a 3K.
Yeah. Archie and Nathan running. They're both running well, but not 8:05 3K well. But it's not a 3K race. But as you said, further distance will suit Toby.
You lost your boy to MTC.
He spent a bit of time in Melbourne jumping in with those boys, which is good for him.
What's he doing down there? Open a burger store?
Open at a burger store in Melbourne, you reckon? No, he's just spending some time down there. His sister's moved down there, so he's got a bit of accommodation. She's doing uni down there. So
The worry croaks.
Got somewhere
He's
to stay.
losing the grip on the boy.
As long as he's in the bat singlet on a Jells Park Carrillo winter season, I'll be happy.
It's either MTC sessions or sessions with Andy Buchanan. There's not a lot of Brady love anymore.
Yeah, I train too early in the morning for him. It's a two blue collar for me at the moment. But no, he's going well. He should be up there on the podium. Liam Adams
Just you
usually
and Nate
rocks
Stote
up.
then, is it? You training with Nate Stote?
No, Nate Stote lives in Cobram. He lives like 90 minutes away. People think if anyone lives on the Murray River, they all just live in the same town. The amount of people that have hit me up and they're like, hey, mate, I'm in Albury on the weekend. We should go for a run. You're like, it's 300 k's away. Like, it's easier for me to drive to Melbourne.
It's probably worth driving 300 to get out of Albury, to be honest.
That's it. Moose, what are you doing?
Training camp.
Training camp, 20k on a Monday. That's when you know he's training the Wild Croaks.
Yeah.
That's a great way to start a week.
Get the easy k's up early in the week. All right, road to London Wednesday. See you, boys. Enjoy your week.
See you guys.
So, yeah.
See ya.
The all-new Sydney Marathon is Australia's marathon, so join us at the start line this year for an event you'll never forget. Register now at sydneymarathon.com.
Doesn't matter if I don't come back.